All right, our second lesson of the day, guys, 5.4, vertex form. So we've seen a little bit of vertex form already. We did that in our last lesson. Okay, now we're going to be looking more at maximum and minimum values when having vertex form. So, graph, so 5 slides, guys, 5 slides to get through. Graph the following parabolas on the same grid. State the maximum or minimum value and for which value of x it occurs. So this is slightly new. Let's do a quick review of what we learned in the last lesson. So we have this here. This is vertex form, right? We know vertex form is ax minus p plus q, or in this case we have a plus and a minus. So tell me, is this guy going to open up or down? So this here is telling us that it opens down. Are we going to vertically shift up or down? So down. And then here we have positive 5. This is, again, just something that you're going to have to memorize. If this is a positive, are we moving left or right? Good job. There you guys go. You got this. Okay, tell me my vertex. What's my vertex? Good. So this is really P and Q, which is X and Y, but this is always going to be negative. My step pattern. So my A value is what? -2. So we're going to go 1 times -2, 3 times -2, 5 times -2. We're going to get -2, -6, -10. Okay, so let's graph this. So I'm going to plot my vertex, which is -5, -2. And then I'm going to go, and it's opening down, so we know I'm going to go, sorry guys, downwards. Okay, so I'm going to go over 1, down 2, over 1, down 6. And just make sure that matches up. Yep. We can't go again, we don't have enough space. Over 1, down 2, over 1, down 6. I need to calibrate again. Why is it that we have to do that so often? That's A. Okay. Awesome. So now, this is the only new part now. State the max or the minimum value and for which value of x it occurs. So, I'm just going to put this here so that you know that that's for that. Max, write this down and then we'll talk about it. Value of y is -2 when x equals -5. So write that down. This is new, and this is just how we say it. So we want to now know, and max and min value isn't new to you guys. We know that when the parabola opens down, we have a max or a min. And if it opens up, we have a max or a min. A min. So in this case, our parabola opens down, so we know it's going to be a max value, so that hasn't changed here. So in this case, this parabola has a maximum value, but the way we say it is the max value of y is -2, because y is -2 when x equals -5. It's just the way that we say it. Okay, this is our vertex. Remember when we did this stuff back a couple weeks ago? We said that it's the y value that tells us our max value. So this is, every time we do a question like this is how you're going to say it. So we have our vertex, okay? We know that our max value is the y. So max value of y is -2 when the x is -5. It's just the terminology. It's just how we say it. Okay? So you guys will do the next one for me with that type of sentence structure. Okay. This next one here, y equals negative 1, really, x minus 5 squared plus 9. So tell me, is this guy going to open up or down? So again, that's telling us down. Is it going to move left or right? And is it going to move up or down? Good job, guys. Okay. What's my vertex? 5 and 9. Good job. Step pattern. Well, A is what? -1. So am I good to just put -1, -3, -5? Do we know how we got that? It's really just 135 times -1. So it's just going to give us negative numbers. Okay? So let's plot this. So my vertex is 5 and 9. We know we're going to open down, so we're going to come downwards. And my step pattern is over 1, down 1, over 1, down 3, over 1, down 5. So over 1, down 1, over 1, down 3, over 1, down 5. Where does that put us? Right here. Okay, over 1, down 1, over 1, down 3, over 1, down 5. Now, this parabola opens down, so is it a maximum or a minimum value? Maximum. So can you put it into sentence form for me down here? How do we say it? Good job. Awesome. Okay, max value of y is 9 when x equals 5. Because the max value is the y value, so I want you to understand that. We say the max value of y, because the max value is the y value, is 9, but when x is 5, which is our x value when our y is 9. Good. Are we okay with that? Pretty straightforward. Good. 2 more examples. So remind me, are we going to open up or down? So opens up. Are we going to move left or right? And are we going to move up or down? Okay. Vertex. It's my vertex. -6 and -10, right? Because this is really negative. Are we okay with that? Step pattern. Well, our A is what? So really it's 1 times 3, 3 times 3, 5 times 3, which is 3, 9, 15. -6, -10. We're opening up. Over 1, up 3, over 1, up 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Over 1, up 3, over 1, up 9. Now, tell me, how do I say this? First of all, is it a max or a min value? So, min or minimum value. How do we say it? Minimum value of y is good. We're honestly just taking straight from the vertex, guys. The y value and the x value. Okay, next, is this guy opening up or down? Are we moving left or right? And then there's nothing here. So really, what is there if nothing's there? 0. So we don't have to worry about like a vertical shift up or down because there isn't a value there. Okay? But it's sometimes nice to put that there because when we go to do the vertex, it might help you. So vertex is 3 and 0, okay? And please see that. It's just because this here is our P and over here is our Q, but it's just not there. So it's really like saying plus 0. What's my step pattern? Well, it's 1, so 1, 3, 5, 7. So let's plot that 3 and 0. And then we're going to go over 1, up 1, over 1, up 3, over 1, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure that that's right. Yep. Over 1, up 1, over 1, up 3, over 1, up 5. And now can someone tell me how I'm going to say this? Is it a min or a max? Min value awesome. This next question says, what did you discover about max and minimum values? So this really isn't any new news to us. We know that when A is positive, that means that the parabola opens up, which means it's a min value. When A is negative, we know the parabola opens down, so it is a max value. Okay, and then just over here, remember, this is P and Q because this is vertex form and we need these variables in here because we already have an X and a Y, so we can't say X and Y again. But this P is really your what value of the vertex. And Q is really your what value of the vertex, Y. So I'm just going to put here for you, Q is the optimal Y value. And when I say optimal, that refers to the max min. Okay, so P is the optimal X value. Okay, all that's saying is Q is Y and P is X in the vertex. So far, so good, guys? Any questions? Okay, this next page is really just review. 3 more pages. 2 of them very, very quick. 1 of them a little bit more writing. Okay? Here we go. Review page for max and min. Okay, because that's all that we've learned and new now in this lesson. If A is positive, parabola opens up. We know that already. There is a minimum value. Again, we know if the parabola opens up, it's a minimum value. If this is vertex form, we know that this is the minimum Y value. And this is exactly what we just did the last slide. You guys were able to pick out. You know that that is the Y. It's really Q. And this is the X, which is P. Okay? So minimum value occurs when X equals -7. Because really, what's the vertex here? Can you tell me what the vertex is here? Okay, so this is just putting a summary. If I asked you in the last slide, put this into a sentence, you'd have said because it opens up, we have a minimum value. So the minimum value of y is negative 12 when x equals negative 7. That's all this page is saying. If a is negative, parabola opens down. We know that. If it opens down, we have a max value. The vertex of this guy is what? Okay, so the minimum value of y is 9 when x equals negative 6. Okay, and just remember, like this is the x value of the vertex. That's the y value of the vertex. That's it. Questions with that? Just a review page. Okay. Use the word max or min. Okay, so we're just going to fill in the blanks here. So A says y equals 7x minus 12 squared plus 20. So I'll do the first one with you so that you know what I'm like trying to put in here and what to expect, and then we'll do the rest together. So if this is positive, the parabola opens up or down. Do we have a max or a min value? The min value of y is, well, what's my y here? Let's put this into our vertex. So what's my x for my vertex? And my y? So the minimum value of y is 20 when x equals 12. That's all we're doing here. How about this next one? Well, we have a negative here, so does the parabola open up or down? So is it going to be a min or a max? The max value of y, well, our vertex is what? Let's do that right away. What's our vertex? So the max value of y is when x equals, good. Now, these two, they gave us the equation. These two, we actually have parabolas here. So right away, let's get the vertex. What's the vertex of C? Negative 6 and 3. Negative 6, 1, 2, 3. So, does this open up or down? This one's nice because you can just see it. Opens down, so is it a max or a min? What's my y value? And my x. Good. How about this last one? What's my vertex? Yep. You got it. So, opens up or down? Max or min? Value of y is when x equals. Wonderful. Last slide. As soon as we're done this slide, you guys can go for a 10-minute break. Okay? Okay? Unless, you don't want to, you can just do your homework. This morning was long. Like, that was a long lesson. I know that that's tough to get through sometimes. It was long. And, like, I feel like we could have done it quicker, but, like, why would we rush, right? So it wasn't... Yeah, so I know it was long, so you guys deserve it. Okay, last slide. I gave that to you, eh? I changed the wording of that on mine. That's fine, it's no big deal. Okay, determine the equation of each parabola in the form, and then that's a vertex form. We know that now, so let me just write that just for a reminder. Vertex form. So, we want to determine the equation. So we did this before. Remember when we would have, they'd give you a point, and when we were doing y equals, what was it, m x minus p plus q, you would have similar questions like this. So we want to get this in the end. The whole point now is to be able to determine what vertex form is. So, A says vertex 0 and 5 and passes through the point -3 and 11. So, when looking at that equation right there, this vertex 0 and 5, now think about it before you answer the question. We have 4 variables, y, x, p, and q. The vertex is the x and the y or the p and the q? Good job. So this would be xy, right? Okay, so we want to sub in our values to be able to get the equation. So, number 1. Number 1, sub in P and Q from vertex.
Where'd you get the 5 from? Yeah.
5 is here.
Wait, why did you sub? Oh, you did. Okay, 0 and 5.
Yep, are we okay with that? All I did was sub in vertex for P and Q. Okay?
Why did you do the x and y at the same time?
Because I'm just going by the steps, and this first step I tell you to do is sub P and Q. So I'm just following one step at a time for you guys. Okay? If you wanted to sub them all in at the same time, you could. It's completely up to you, but I just want to go step by step just for the first time around. Okay? So number 2, solve for A by subbing in given point. Guys, what's so funny? Like this stuff that we hear? Like the music? The movie? It just doesn't sound like screaming to me. It just sounds like a video. Well, let's all be quiet for 1 sec. Yeah, it does. Okay. Hey, we're almost there. We're almost there. Okay, I want to ask you a quick question. Actually, no, the next one we're going to do it. Never mind, the next one we're going to do it, so I'm not even going to ask you. Okay, 2, sub in the given point. Well, what's the given point here? This guy, right? So, 2, 11 equals A -3 minus 0 squared plus 5. Well, -3 minus 0 is what? Good. So, 3 squared is, or -3 squared? 9. So, I'm going to write this in a way that makes more sense. I'm going to put 9 first and then the A. If you didn't do that, like, it's not the end of the world, but like, we don't really write things that look like that, right? Like, it's always like 2x or 3y. The variable comes second when we write like that, so that's the only reason I've swapped them around. Oh. So 11 equals 9a plus 5. Well, you tell me what to do next. I feel like we're struggling with this. We're like forgetting how to like rearrange this stuff. Well, what do we want to find here? What's the only variable left that we need to know? A. So that means that we want to isolate for A. So what's my next step? What am I going to do? Okay, you could do that. You could bring this over here, but then what would you have to do with this? Right, so what would make more sense to just keep this on its own on the right? Good job. 11, and it's going to be plus 5 or subtract 5? 11 take away 5 is 6. And then how am I going to divide by 9 to get rid of it, right? Divide by 9. So I'm just going to come over here. Yep. So this is like back to the basics. 6 over 9. Can I reduce that? Okay, so what number do we divide both by? 3. So 6 divided by 3 is? Good. So now we have A. So help me. How am I going to write the equation? So now the whole point of this question was to determine the equation. So can you guys help me do that? So y equals, we're going to make it look just like this. No, because we want it to look just like, sorry, so we're going to leave the y and the x, and we have to sub in our p and our q.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so, good job. It's okay. Okay, and that's it. You could simplify this further. You don't have to, but this is really saying y equals 2 over 3. X minus 0 is what? X squared. So that really means the same thing, but then it doesn't really look the same as that, so I don't want that to confuse you. So if you want to leave it like this, that is absolutely fine. Are we okay with that? That's pretty easy peasy. We were just subbing into the equation, solving for A, and then just putting it back in to vertex form, sorry. Next one. Negative vertex of -4 and 8 and has a y-intercept of 16. So this one's a little bit different. Yep, you got it. Okay, so right away I just want to put P and Q here. Okay, so that we remember. So just like Angelica said, if we have a y-intercept of 16, well, we know that when we get the y-intercept, x equals what? This is like back to grade 9, 0. When we have the x-intercept, the y value is what? 0. And I need you to remember and understand why. Like, if we are getting the y-intercept, so like the point in which the parabola crosses the y-axis, well, that would be right here for this parabola. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what's the x? When the parabola crosses the y-axis, the y is 6. What's the x? Guys, we're just getting the point here. 0. So I'm trying to explain to you why we say when the y-intercept is 16, then x is 0. If the x-intercept is 5, then the y is 0. So that's why Angelica knew this. If the y-intercept is 16, x is 0, y is 16. So now we have our point, x and y, and we also have PQ. Are we okay with that? Awesome. So, number 1, let's just sub in our vertex. So y equals a x minus. Now tell me what I'm going to do here, because I'm subbing in my p, and this minus here is already part of the equation, but then now I have a -4, so how am I going to write that? Good. Good job. Squared plus 8. Y equals a, what is this going to become? -1 times -4? Good. Okay, now we can sub in our point. So what value am I subbing in for y? What value am I subbing in for y? Thank you. What value am I subbing in for x? Zero plus 4? 4. 4 squared is 16a. Was that okay to do that all together? So this would have been 4 squared. 4 squared is 16 times a is 16a plus 8. What am I going to do to get a on its own? First, we're going to bring this guy where? Becomes negative. 16 subtract 8 is 8. Eight divided by 16. Can someone reduce that for me? Can 8 go into 8? How many times? Can 8 go into 16? How many times? Okay. Can someone? Now, if you want to put this into a fraction, into a decimal, go ahead. If you want to put a equals 0.5, no big deal. Okay, it doesn't matter. So, can someone please give us our final equation? Y equals. Hey, listen, if you can't give me your last 30 seconds of attention, then you can go for a 5-minute break instead of a 10. Come on. Someone tell me. Okay, so, yeah, so x. Good job. Good job. Done. Questions about this lesson? The one in the morning was like so many steps, but it was really only to just get to those last 2 slides, and then I feel like if you could do that, like I said, those last 2 slides, if you can do them, then you're golden. It was just getting there to make it make sense, right?
Are we ever gonna have this one like just this? Because that's like the easiest thing. Yeah, just no, I'm just wondering if it's ever gonna if it like this.
Yeah, you'll see that for sure. You'll see that for sure. All right, go for break.